Live from New Delhi, you're watching DDI Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds bilateral talks with Bangladeshi counterpart Sheikh Hasina in New Delhi. 10 agreements and shared vision on digital and green partnership exchanged to strengthen bilateral ties. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chairs the 53rd GST Council meet in New Delhi. The council is meeting for the first time after the formation of new government. Tension escalates between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah. United Nations chief warns of catastrophe beyond imagination. And in sports, India to face Bangladesh in Super 8's encounter of the ICC Men's T20 World Cup in Antigua. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with his Bangladeshi counterpart Sheikh Hasina in New Delhi on Saturday to further deepen historic ties between the two countries. The talks covered a range of areas of bilateral cooperation, including development partnership, energy, water resources, trade, defense cooperation, and more. India's Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randeep Jaiswal in a social media post said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended a warm welcome to PM Sheikh Hasina at Hyderabad House ahead of their bilateral discussions, adding that the two leaders have met 10 times since 2019, making unprecedented transformations in the relationships. Prime Minister Modi and Bangladesh Prime Minister also held delegation-level talks in New Delhi. India and Bangladesh signed 10 agreements that includes document on shared vision India-Bangladesh digital space, shared vision document on green partnership, MOU on maritime and blue economy, MOU on renewal of health, MOU in space, MOU on railway, MOU on oceanography, renewal of MOU on disaster management, renewal of MOU in fisheries, cooperation on military. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced e-medical visa service for those who reach India for medical treatment from Bangladesh and added that both sides agreed to start talks on comprehensive economic partnership agreement to bolster the economic ties.
दोनों देशों के बीच भारतीय रुपये में ट्रेड की शुरुआत हुई है। भारत बांग्लादेश के बीच गंगा नदी पर दुनिया की सबसे लंबी रिवर क्रूज को सफलतापूर्वक पूरा किया गया है। भारत बांग्लादेश के बीच पहली क्रॉस बॉर्डर फ्रेंडशिप पाइपलाइन पूरी की गई है। भारतीय ग्रिड से होते हुए नेपाल से बांग्लादेश तक बिजली निर्यात ऊर्जा क्षेत्र में सब रीजनल सहयोग का पहला उदाहरण बना है। एक ही वर्ष में इतने सारे एरियाज में इतने बड़े इनिशिएटिव्स को जमीन पर उतारना हमारे संबंधों के स्पीड और स्केल को दर्शाता है।
Addressing the joint meet, Bangladeshi counterpart said that India is the major neighbor, trusted friend and regional partner.
Today, our two sides had very productive meetings where we discussed politics and security, trade and connectivity, the sharing of water from common rivers, power and energy, and regional and multilateral cooperation, among other issues of mutual interest.
The long pending Teesta water sharing pact was also on the agenda. Prime Minister Modi said that India will send a technical team to Bangladesh soon.
54 साझा नदियां भारत और बांग्लादेश को जोड़ती हैं। फ्लड मैनेजमेंट, अर्ली वार्निंग, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर प्रोजेक्ट्स पर हम सहयोग करते आए हैं। हमने 1996 के गंगा रिवर ट्रीटी के रिन्यूअल के लिए टेक्निकल स्तर पर बातचीत शुरू करने का निर्णय लिया है। बांग्लादेश में तीस्ता नदी के संरक्षण एवं प्रबंधन पर बातचीत के लिए शीघ्र ही एक टेक्निकल टीम बांग्लादेश का दौरा करेगी।
Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, congratulated Indian PM Narendra Modi for being elected for his consecutive third term during their joint press meet.
I am now visiting New Delhi for an unprecedented second time in the same month, June 2024. Earlier, on June 9, I attended with other world leaders the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Modi and his new cabinet. These are testaments to our two countries' close engagement.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi, তিনি ক্ষমতায় এসেছেন, তাকে আমার আন্তরিক অভিনন্দন জানাই।
My heartfelt congratulations to Honorable Prime Minister for his historic third time as the Prime Minister.
All right, and DD India's Naval Sangh Parmar joins us live from Dhaka for more on this story. Naval Sangh, India will start e-medical visa facility for people coming from Bangladesh to India for medical treatment. How will it benefit people there? And also, lots of MOUs were signed, in maritime and blue economy, renewal of health, space, railway, oceanography. What latest are you getting for us?
Yes. As far as e-visa, medical visa is concerned for the people of Bangladesh who is traveling to the India, I can say that it was the most expected and desirous outcome of this meeting. People in Bangladesh are very much willing to go to India for the medical treatment and medical facilities. And the post-COVID times, the medical complication and the requirement of Bangladeshi people to go to India for a medical facility is increasing day by day. And there were a huge burden on the visa section of Indian High Commission due to the many number of visa applications. Per day, Indian High Commission processed around 6,000 to 7,000 visa applications, which is very huge number in entire world. So there were a demand, and due to that, there were some tendency. People were not happy with the time taken by the visa process, and there were a huge burden on the visa section. So this step will ease the visa facilitation, particularly for the medical visa who are willing to go to Chennai, Kolkata, or Hyderabad, and many other Indian metro cities. Those are the popular destination for medical facility in Bangladesh. And second thing, it will ease a visa procedure for the tourist visa also, because the medical section will be shifted towards the e-medical visa. So the tourism sector and the business visa and other types of visa will also get a priority now. And the second thing, the Indian Assistant High Commission in Rangpur, which is announced by our Prime Minister in the joint statement that India will open an Assistant High Commission in Rangpur. There are 4 Assistant High Commissioner in the Bangladesh: Sylhet, Khulna, Rajshahi, and Chattogram. The northern and northwestern region of Bangladesh, which is close to the Siliguri corridor, which is around 300 plus kilometers away from the Dhaka and other visa facility center. So this is the very welcome step, and it is being welcomed in Bangladesh that India will open a Assistant High Commission in Rangpur, northern Bangladesh. And the second thing, apart from the popular demand of the Bangladeshi people, like visa and visa facilitation, there was a demand for the from the business community regarding the trade and commerce. So SEPA is a much discussed issue in the Bangladeshi media, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. And our Prime Minister and the Bangladesh Prime Minister jointly announced that the talks will go further on the implementation or the formalization of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Apart from that, the sharing of waters of the common rivers, as India and Bangladesh share the 44 common rivers, and mainly the Ganga and Brahmaputra, and apart from the Barak and the Tista. And the Tista is very important river for Bangladesh as well as India. And as our Prime Minister announced that the technical team will send to Bangladesh to have a Tista conservation and management report. And it will help both the countries to have a better management of the rivers, common rivers. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Navsalang Parmar, for that analysis.
Thank you.
The Bangladesh Prime Minister was accorded a ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in the national capital Delhi earlier today. Sheikh Hasina was received by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Rashtrapati Bhavan as the first guest on a bilateral state visit after the formation of the new government in India. Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina also paid respects to Mahatma Gandhi at Rajghat. Sheikh Hasina is in New Delhi on a two-day visit to India. The visiting leader is scheduled to call on President Draupadi Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar later today. India's Union Home Minister Amit Shah inaugurated the Fast Track Immigration Trusted Traveller program at New Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport to revolutionize travel experience, making it faster, easier and more secure. The FTI-TTP is an initiative by central government designed for Indian nationals as well as overseas citizens of India. The initiative showcases the government's commitment of enhancing travel convenience for everyone. Individuals will need to apply online and submit their biometrics along with other required information as specified in the application form. Registration under FTI will be completed after necessary verifications and confirmations of eligibility. And still to come on DD India Newshour. Russia launches a new missiles and drones in an overnight attack on Ukraine on Saturday. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump holds campaign rally in Philadelphia. Rescue and cleanup operations underway as heavy rain spark floods in southern China.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. The Israeli army released a video on Friday that showed ground troops operating in Gaza and an aerial strike targeting Hamas compounds. Israeli army located weapons in university and eliminated armed terrorists in the central Gaza. Meanwhile, United Nations has also expressed concern over escalating tensions between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah. UN chief said that peacekeepers are working to calm the situation.
Compelled today to voice my profound concerns about escalation between Israel and Hezbollah along the blue line. Escalation in continued exchanges of fire and escalation in bellicose rhetoric from both sides, as if an all-out war was imminent. The risk for the conflict in the Middle East to widen is real and must be avoided.
Russia has launched a new missiles and drones in an overnight attack on Ukraine on Saturday that has damaged energy facilities in the southeast and west regions of Ukraine. Facilities in Zaporizhzhia region in the southeast and Lviv region in the west were damaged by the strikes. Meanwhile, Ukraine claimed to have shot down 12 missiles and all 13 drones launched by Russia. Moscow has said that airstrikes against the Ukrainian energy infrastructure were in retaliation for Ukrainian drone attacks on the Russian territory. DD India's Dasha Chernysova reports from Moscow.
Moscow says Russian troops keep the initiative along the entire front line, consistently reducing the combat potential of the Ukrainian military. That's according to Russia's defense minister Andrei Belousov. Speaking at the meeting with the graduates of high military educational institutions on Friday, he also said that Russia is at the forefront of the fight to establish a just and equal world order. Defense ministry also said that over the past week, the Russian military launched 14 group strikes with high-precision weapons at the facilities of the Ukrainian military-industrial complex. And the total losses of the Ukrainian military amounted to 14,000 people, and 37 Ukrainian soldiers have surrendered. On Saturday morning, Russia's RIA Novosti news agency said the Ukrainian military were attacked in the west of the country in Ivano-Frankovsk and Lviv. 5 Ukrainian drones have been shot down by the Russian air defense systems overnight. In the meantime, Russia is marking the Day of Sorrow on June 22, the day which marks the start of the Great Patriotic War against Nazi Germany. Russian officials say today Moscow is once again fighting against neo-Nazism ideology. Dasha Chernysova reporting in Moscow for DD India.
In a mass shooting incident reported in the southern U.S. state of Arkansas, at least 3 people were killed and 8 others injured outside a grocery store. Those injured include a law enforcement officer and also the shooter, who is critical and has been taken into custody. Emergency services were swiftly dispatched to the scene, providing urgent medical attention to the injured. Meanwhile, the U.S. Supreme Court on Friday upheld a federal law that prevents people who are prone to domestic violence from having firearms. It is amongst the first major Second Amendment decision since a 2022 ruling that expanded gun rights. Former U.S. President Donald Trump will push his record with black voters at a rally in Philadelphia later on Saturday. But Democrats are pushing back, saying Trump's administration made life worse for African Americans across the U.S. DD India's Nick Harper reports from Washington.
Another weekend, another rally for the former president, this time Donald Trump heading to the battleground state of Pennsylvania. He's heading to the north of the city of Philadelphia, heading to the campus of Temple University. And there he intends to try and engage with black voters, really trying to push a message that his America would be better for African Americans. We have seen in recent weeks this real push to try and motivate a black base in the party. We've seen polling suggesting that young black men in particular are beginning to show growing support for Donald Trump. So in the last few weeks, we've seen him head to Detroit, the city in Michigan, to appear on stage with black officials. We've seen him launch a Black Voters Coalition, and we've seen him appear on stage at a number of different places with black music artists, really trying to push that message that he would be good for black America. However, the Democrats pushing back against that, and they plan to rally nearby Temple University on Saturday. They'll be having mobile billboards that they'll be driving around the city, billboards criticising Donald Trump's administration's policies when he was in office, saying that Donald Trump can't fool us. The billboards reading, he's a disaster for black Americans, saying there was nearly 10% black unemployment under Donald Trump, and if Trump wins, black families lose. The Biden administration instead trying to counter by comparing Donald Trump to the Biden administration's actions over the last 3.5 years that they say have helped black Americans, in particular the cancelling of various loans that they've taken out as university students, saying that that in particular has helped minority groups. But of course, remember, Pennsylvania is an important swing state in this election. It was narrowly won by Joe Biden back in 2020, and it could potentially hold the keys to the White House this time. Both men campaigning hard in the state, knowing that it's a must-win if they want to be in the White House after November. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
And Germany's Economy Minister Robert Habeck arrived in Shanghai on Saturday, marking the first visit by a senior European official since the European Union proposed hefty duties on imports of Chinese-made electric vehicles to combat what the bloc considers excessive subsidies. China warned on Friday ahead of his arrival that escalating frictions with the EU over EVs could trigger a trade war. Habeck's visit is seen as an opportunity for Germany to explain to Chinese officials about the recent tariff announcement while fearing the risk of retaliation from China that could harm German businesses. And 4 members of UK's richest family, the Hindujas, have been sent up to 4 years and 6 months in jail by Swiss court for exploiting their domestic workers. The accused are Prakash Hinduja and his wife Kamal, their son Ajay and his wife Namrata. They were accused of confiscating the workers' passports and forcing them to work over 16 hours a day in their Geneva villa at a much lower rate than the minimum wage in Switzerland. Brought from India, the domestic helps were mostly illiterate. And let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. A satellite developed by China and France that is said to be the most powerful tool for studying the farthest explosion of stars was launched into orbit on Saturday. It's the first astronomy satellite developed by China and France. The satellite will study phenomena including gamma ray bursts. Thousands of Apple fans queued overnight in the excitement of the official opening of the tech giant's first store in Malaysia. The store runs on 100% on renewable energy and is designed using high-quality materials, including natural stone walls, polished stainless steel columns, light terrazzo floors, and a timber ceiling. A ferry servicing the Cook Strait between New Zealand's North and South Islands has run aground in late-night accident. The 47 crew and drivers spent the night on board at the ferry, which had power and supplies, but were told to wear life jackets in case the situation worsened. Weather updates from across the globe now. New York City is grappling with a significant heat wave, and officials are warning residents that the soaring temperatures could be deadly. The city is just one of dozens battling searing heat across the United States in the coming days. DD India's Mitch McCann reports from New York.
Temperatures here in New York are soaring over 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 32 degrees Celsius, and it may get even hotter. This has prompted the Mayor, Eric Adams, to issue a warning to residents to keep cool and seek shelter if needed. Adams said a heat wave can be more than just uncomfortable, it can be deadly and life-threatening if you are not prepared. New York's emergency heat plan has been activated, and that means cooling centres are available for people seeking shelter from the sun. And even police officers have been seen across New York's 5 boroughs handing out water to people moving around the city. Meanwhile, those looking to keep cool at New York's public libraries might be out of luck in the coming days, with reports that a small number have been closed due to broken air conditioners. At the same time, there are concerns about the stress set to be put on New York's power grid in the coming days, with a high number of residents using their air conditioners to keep cool. The hottest temperatures might still be to come here in New York in the coming days and weeks. In fact, this Sunday local time, the heat index, which is a measure of how hot it feels when humidity is accounted for, suggests New York may reach 98 degrees Fahrenheit or 36 degrees Celsius. Mitch McCann in New York reporting for DD India.
Local authorities in Switzerland's Zermatt have issued a high alert and risk of flooding on Friday as heavy rainfall batters the region. Banks of river Westpa was bursts in parts, causing the water to overflow, thus resulting in the cancellation of roads and trains. The Swiss ski resort of Zermatt in the Matterhorn mountain was also cut off by heavy rainfall. Incessant rain, melting snow and saturated ground are believed to be the cause of the heavy flooding. Rescue operations are underway in the flood-hit southern region of China. Residents are also cleaning up debris from flooded streets. Days of torrential rain, flash floods and landslides across southern China prompted authorities to escalate emergency measures as swollen rivers threaten to disrupt millions of lives. China's Meteorological Center has also warned of more torrential rain over the next 2 weeks in several areas as a persistent rain belt shifts northward. The India Meteorological Department has said that heat wave conditions will be likely over pockets of West Uttar Pradesh until the 24th of this month, adding that the maximum temperatures will rise by 3 to 4 degrees Celsius over northwest India during the next 2 days. However, no significant change in maximum temperatures is expected over the rest of the country. Meanwhile, the IMD predicted heavy to very heavy rainfall over Kerala, Karnataka and Goa during the next 4 days. The IMD added that light to moderate rainfall with thunderstorms and lightning will be present over Gujarat, Maharashtra, Lakshadweep, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu and Puducherry during the next 4 days. Heavy to very heavy rainfall will be present over northeast India today and over West Bengal, Sikkim, Assam, Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh during the next 5 days. Moderate rainfall with thunderstorms, lightning and gusty winds will prevail over Gangetic West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Andaman and Nicobar Islands during the next 4 days. And still to come on DD India Newshour. And as Indian PM and Bangladesh PM meet in New Delhi to bolster ties between the two countries, we will have an in-depth discussion on the same. Stay tuned. India's Ministry of Education sets up a high-level panel to ensure transparent, smooth and fair conduct of examinations.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. A quick recap of the headlines. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi holds talks with Bangladeshi counterpart Sheikh Hasina in New Delhi. 10 agreements and shared vision on digital and green partnership exchanged to strengthen bilateral ties. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman chairs the 53rd GST Council Meet in New Delhi. The council is meeting for the first time after the formation of new government. Tension escalates between Israel and Lebanon's Hezbollah. United Nations chief warns of catastrophe beyond imagination. India and Bangladesh agreed to start talks on the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement to take forward economic ties. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Quatra said that CEPA negotiation will commence at an early date.
India is the largest market for Bangladeshi products in Asia, and in this respect we hope to commence the CEPA negotiation at an early date and open also new border hearts. You will find a mention of that in the vision document for the benefit of people living along the borders. I think both sides have held initial technical discussions to better understand how they want to position the respective set of goods, perhaps even services, and other trade facilitation related measures in CEPA. And I think once those initial lists have been analyzed in great details, as I said, the CEPA negotiations we hope would commence at an early date.
India's Foreign Secretary also said that the trial run of goods train on Bangladesh Railway from Doordarshan to Haldibari Chilahati cross-border interchange point is planned for next month. This will help in sub-regional connectivity with Bhutan.
Starting a new passenger train service between Rajshahi and Kolkata, while trial run for a goods train on Bangladesh Railway from a place called Gede Darshana to Haldibari Chilahati cross-border interchange point is planned for next month sometime. This will also help sub-regional connectivity with Bhutan. We'll also be starting another bus service which will be between Kolkata and Chittagong.
Well, Pinak Ranjan Chakravarti, former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh and former Secretary MEA, is joining me on the broadcast to have more discussion on it. Sir, first of all, I really appreciate you spared out your time to come on this broadcast today. Let's begin with this. Coming off a leader twice within the span of 15 days, Bangladesh PM Sheikh Hasina was here, first during the swearing-in ceremony of PM Modi and Union Council of Ministers, and now when she is here to bolster the relationship between the two countries. How significant is this? How do you see this?
I think it's quite significant because I think India wanted to make the point that that she should be the first official state visitor to India.
Correct.
Because it was a state visit. I saw that it was treated as a state visit with Rashtrapati Bhavan ceremonies. So I think that's a signal to Bangladesh and to Prime Minister Hasina that we want to be steadfast friends and want to pursue the neighborhood first policy with Bangladesh as an important pillar of that. So that is the significance of the visit, and the joint statement, of course, we can discuss that separately.
Definitely. Sir, shared vision document on green partnership, MOU on maritime and blue economy, MOU on renewal of health, MOU in space, all of them certainly are pivotal sectors. Now, considering all these, how do you see the future growth of both the nations? And they have been considered as pillars as well.
Well, let me begin with the Bay of Bengal, because it's very, both countries have a lot of equities. We sorted out the maritime boundary. So that is out of the way. We don't have a problem with that. So I think it is important that both countries should join and start exploring. I mean, the Bay of Bengal can offer a lot of things like fuel, gas, etc. Plus also minerals on the ocean floor. But these are of course futuristic a bit because it's technologically quite complex, and But I think some kind of a joint venture can be started on these lines to the Bay of Bengal particularly. The other things, of course, energy is a very important part, communication, railways is a very important part, how to get the Indian railways to go across to different destinations using Bangladeshi, support, and Bangladeshi railways can also do the same on our side. So these are some of the things that are basically integrating the two countries in certain areas. Yes, of course, is an important area. India is an advanced space power and can help Bangladesh with their communication satellites, which we have done with other countries. So that will depend on Bangladesh whether so. But there are elements in Bangladesh who may have some objections to that kind of thing, because there is always that the niggling fear at the background of some of the Bangladeshi opposition people, particularly that too much cooperation with India is not good for Bangladesh. There is a sentiment like that also in Bangladesh.
Okay. Now, Teesta water sharing agreement between both the countries is being a long pending issue. Do you see it resolving, and how?
Well, I suppose it can be resolved, but in India, the domestic, problems with the West Bengal's leadership and the central government perhaps needs to be, set aside to deal with Teesta as an issue which is important for both countries, and we should not be held hostage to domestic political kind of, debates or issues. So that is one thing that I think India should sort of be proactive in doing, in somehow, getting the Teesta, water sharing particularly. There is, of course, another aspect of the Teesta basin management, which is a different issue, which has some geopolitical and security implications for India particularly. So that is also on the table, and I think must have been discussed in the meeting.
Definitely. And if I talk about the conservation of Teesta River, a technical team will soon be visiting Bangladesh. How do you assess this? Any signals for future growth?
I think what's going to happen is that both India and China have made proposals for managing this.
To develop a section of the Teesta River.
Yes, I know. I mean, what I'm saying is that you have to drain the river, make sure the water flows are. But I think ultimately it depends on the water flows and how much water is available. But I think the training of the river banks and the management, etc., can be done in anticipation of the water sharing agreement. And hence, I think Bangladesh is probably, weighing the various considerations, whether to go with China, whether to go with India. And of course, India has offered, a lot of loans and grants. The Chinese have, of course, different objectives other than simply, managing the Teesta basin. They have a geopolitical objective. They want a bigger foothold in Bangladesh so as to reduce Indian influence. They want to basically contain India's influence in our neighborhood. That is their geopolitical objective.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for joining in. And it was a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you so much. Amid the controversy over NEET UG results and the cancellation of UGC NET exam due to paper leak, the centre on Friday operationalized a stringent law that aims to curb malpractices and irregularities in competitive examinations. The Public Examinations Prevention of Unfair Means Act 2024, passed by Parliament in February, aims to prevent unfair means in the public examinations conducted by the Union Public Service Commission, the Staff Selection Commission, the Railways, Banking Recruitment Examinations and the National Testing Agency, among others. The law entails provisions for a maximum jail term of 10 years and a fine of up to ₹1 crore for offenders. India's Ministry of Education has constituted a high-level committee of experts under the chairmanship of Dr. K. Radhakrishnan, former chairman ISRO and chairman BOG IIT Kanpur, to ensure transparent, smooth and fair conduct of examinations. The committee to make recommendations on reform in mechanisms of examination process that will suggest measures to improve efficiency of the system. Second, on improvement in data security protocols that will include examination of existing security protocols related to the paper setting. And third, on structure and functioning of National Testing Agency that will include assessment of the grievance redressal mechanism of the NTA. The committee to submit its report to the ministry within 2 months. The National Testing Agency has postponed the CSIR UGC NET exam scheduled to take place from June 25th. The NTA in a statement said the joint CSIR UGC NET examination June 2024 is being postponed due to unavoidable circumstances as well as logistic issues. It further said the revised schedule for the conduct of this examination will be announced later through the official website. The candidates are advised to keep visiting the official website. And let's take a look at other stories making news. Death toll in Tamil Nadu Hooch tragedy rises to 53, prompting political and judicial reactions. The people died after consuming illicit liquor in Kallakurichi district of southern state Tamil Nadu. The Madras High Court criticized government's inaction and demanded a comprehensive response to prevent future incidents. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has faced calls for resignation from the opposition party. Long lines of people were seen queuing up on Saturday to fetch water from tankers across parts of national capital as the city continued to sizzle in the summer heat. Meanwhile, amid the political tug-of-war on the water crisis, Delhi's Water Minister Atishi sat on an indefinite hunger strike on Friday, alleging that the Haryana government is not releasing Delhi's share of water. On the occasion of Deva Snan Purnima, thousands of devotees visited India's Puri to witness the Snan Yatra of Lord Jagannath and his siblings. Dev Snan Purnima, also known as Snan Yatra, is a yearly bathing festival that honors the birth anniversary of the Hindu deities. Snan Yatra is carried out in eastern state Odisha before the famous Rath Yatra festival. The annual Ambubachi Mela or fair at Kamakhya temple in Assam's Guwahati commenced on Saturday as the temple doors closed and the worship stopped for the next 4 days. The Ambubachi Mela is celebration of the yearly menstruation course of goddess Kamakhya, during which the temple remains shut. Lakhs of devotees attend the Mela and wait for the resumption of worship and pay obeisance to the goddess. The Embassy of India in Bahrain marked the 10th International Day of Yoga on June 21, 2024 with a series of events centered around the theme Yoga for Self and Society. The main celebration took place at Khalifa Sports City Stadium, where hundreds of yoga enthusiasts gathered for a session organized by the Embassy in collaboration with Bahrain's General Sports Authority. Ambassador Vinod K. Jacob attended as the chief guest. The Embassy has been conducting weekly yoga classes since March 9, 2024 to promote wellness and raise awareness about yoga's benefits. Indian Embassy in Muscat celebrated the 10th International Day of Yoga with great fervor. The event drew an impressive crowd of 2,000 participants from diverse backgrounds. The celebration centered around this year's theme, Yoga for Self and Society. The event marked the culmination of a 2-month initiative called Mahaban Yoga, Health, Harmony and Healing, launched by the Embassy in April 2024.
We are celebrating the Yoga Marathon in the form of Marhaban Yoga, Health, Healing and Harmony, underscoring the essential values of yoga for our lives. We have so far conducted more than 30 events all across Oman.
The Andaman and Nicobar Command observed International Day of Yoga at Indira Point, the southernmost tip of India. The Indian Armed Forces celebrated oneness of body and mind with a week-long yoga workshop, culminating in amphibians performing yoga. Well, still to come on DD India Newshour. India's manufacturing PMI rises to 60.9 in June, job creation fastest in 18 years. In Euro 2024, group of death heavyweights France and the Netherlands play out first goalless draw of this edition. Stay with us as we show the preparations ahead of Paris Olympics, aiming to make the Games the greenest ever Games.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj, and India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is holding the 53rd GST Council meeting in Delhi. This is the first meeting of the GST Council after the formation of new government. State finance ministers present at the meeting. As is the norm, the GST Council gets together to discuss issues pertaining to the GST regime, such as tax rates, modifications to policies and administrative challenges. Earlier in the day, Finance Minister Sitharaman also chaired pre-budget meeting with finance ministers of states and union territories and sought suggestions for the upcoming union budget 2024-25. The meeting was attended by chief ministers of 5 states, deputy chief ministers of 5 states, and finance ministers and officials of various states. All right, and DD India's Ajay Mishra joins us from New Delhi. Ajay, a very good evening to you. The pre-budget meeting with the finance minister is over. Now, what are the issues that have been discussed with the states? If you can get us some updates regarding that.
Good evening, Siddharth. I think the state government's cooperation for Viksit Bharat has been the central agenda during the pre-budget discussions with the state finance ministers. There were 5 chief ministers and 5 deputy chief ministers from across the states and several officials from the states. Besides the state-specific issue, we understand that while in the interim budget, the centre announced 1.3 lakh crore rupees of grant and loan to the states. That was widely appreciated by the states, but they have given suggestions to improve this amount. The centre have also proposed the 50 year of interest-free loans for for the state governments to take further reforms to ease to promote the ease of living for citizens, and those reforms finance minister reiterated that state must take in order to avail this beautiful facility of 75,000 crore rupees, which will be for 50 years interest-free loan will be given to the states. That's number one. Going forward, we understand that the specific programs linked to the aspirational districts and blocks in the states are going to get prominence in the forthcoming budget, and also the long-term infrastructure development, which is crucial for some of the states. Might find some place in the full union budget due in July. But yes, it was a very comprehensive and fruitful meeting from the states state side, and it's a beautiful example of cooperative and competitive federalism going ahead.
Thank you so much for that analysis, Ajay.
Thanks, Siddharth.
India's Purchasing Managers Index rose by 0.4 percentage point to 60.9 in June in comparison to May. According to a survey by HSBC, business activity in India got further strengthened in June, with the pace of job creation fastest in over 18 years. The business activity was also strengthened by gains in manufacturing and services sectors. Manufacturers and service providers combined saw their output rise. And time now for sport updates. The Indian men's cricket team will face Bangladesh in their second Super 8 match in the T20 World Cup today at Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, Antigua. The men in blue have looked one of the most balanced sides in the tournament so far, having won all of their matches. Despite low returns of the star opening duo Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the ongoing event, the likes of Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya and Rishabh Pant have stood up and took the onus of scoring upon themselves. While the trio of Jasprit Bumrah, Arshdeep Singh and Hardik Pandya have been remarkable with the ball, while Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav have also got themselves amongst the wickets. West Indies defeated USA by 9 wickets in their crucial T20 World Cup Super 8 fixture in Bridgetown on Saturday. The match also served as a virtual eliminator for both sides. Chasing 129, West Indies raised 230 for 1 in 10.1 overs, courtesy of Shai Hope's unbeaten knock of 82 runs off 39 deliveries. Andre Russell and Roston Chase bagged 3 wickets hauls as West Indies bowlers ran riot in the first innings, as USA were bowled out for 128 in 19.5 overs. France could not score against the Netherlands and gain the win on Friday, which would have secured top spot in Group D of Euro 2024. A 0-0 draw leaves the group wide open as neither side progressed to the last 16. France were without forward Kylian Mbappe, who remained on the bench with a broken nose he suffered in the Austria game. Both sides squandered chances and had periods of control, but neither could find a breakthrough and eased off the throttle in the second half, seemingly content to claim a point. France next face Poland, who have no points after losing 3-1 to Austria earlier on Friday. While the Netherlands meet the Austrians, who have 3 points. Both matches will take place Tuesday. Indian tennis star Sumit Nagal on Saturday confirmed that he has officially qualified for the men's singles event of the upcoming Paris Olympics. The Paris Games will be his second stint in the Olympics, having also qualified for the 2020 Tokyo Games, where he made it to the second round. Nagal was one of the alternates, but with the number of withdrawals of those ranked higher than him increasing, he's set to make the cut when the ITF releases the official entry list on July 4. The 26-year-old Nagal has been making the waves since the start of 2024 season as he qualified for the main draw of the Australian Open. He had also qualified for the main draw of the Indian Wells Masters and Monte Carlo Masters, the ATP 1000 events. The Paris Olympics is just over a month away now, and it is hoping to be the greenest ever games. In the Olympic Village, which is being powered by renewable energy, there will be focus on vegetarian food, recycling and no single-use plastic. And more than 95% of the sporting venues are already in place, reducing the impact of construction sites. DD India correspondent Ross Cullen reports from Paris.
Paris 2024 is just around the corner, with the sporting action set to begin on July the 24th. And the organisers say they have turned a corner in terms of environmental responsibility. The architects, engineers and construction companies have tried to use wood, recycled materials and low-carbon cement in the Olympic venues.
So if you want to create better conditions, especially in urban environments, you have to be driven by sustainability, and we need in everything that we're doing, as you say, to be creative, how we can bring more with doing actually less.
And the water in the Olympic pools is being heated by capturing the heat output from a nearby data centre. All these measures contribute to the ambition of limiting emissions to around 1.7 million tonnes of CO2, half that of the previous Summer Games in London, Rio and Tokyo.
One important way of reducing emissions is to reduce what you build, right? So first is to avoid emissions by not building and using what exists or also temporary infrastructures. And that's what we're using. 95% of our sports infrastructures are existing or temporary.
The Paris 2024 green ambitions are not limited to this summer. These apartments, where elite athletes will be staying during the competition, will be converted into housing for locals after the Games. Building swimming pools along the River Seine and converting Olympic venues into new neighbourhoods are two of the main legacy aims for Paris 2024. Ensuring that the Games are also remembered for their sustainability achievements is another, and something the organisers consider just as important. Ross Cullen in Paris reporting for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.